And staying with security matters, in any battle, the difference between victory and defeat is strategy. And this can be achieved from how well information on how to gain advantage is utilized. And in recent times, the intel coordination among security agencies appears to be a source of concern for Nigeria's military. In this next report, our correspondent, Oreoluwa Shonibare, examines the importance of intelligence gathering in the war against terror.
After attackers unleashed terror on communities, a cycle of events, which many have come to describe as mundane and predictable, follows. Security agencies show up, condemn the act, and promise to arrest the perpetrators. A pledge which sounds like a plan, but the results appear to be far from convincing, because every assurance to capture those behind the vicious killings is followed shortly after by another attack. So what is amiss in the tactics security agencies are employing to contain this menace? How well are they combining their resources to create a pool of relevant intel to achieve results? The monthly operational briefings by the Army through Operation Lafia Dole is commendable, as it shows how well the military is performing. However, covert approaches to this might also need to be applied to understand how the enemy of state operates, because in this war against terror, the knowledge of how to deal with the enemy may not necessarily lie in physical retaliations, but calculated strategies that is derived from accurate intelligence gathering. Oreoluwa Shonibare, Channels Television News.
Now let's drill down some more on this burning issue. And joining me live from our Abuja studios is a security expert, Dr. Amici Wokolo. You're welcome to the news at 10.
Yeah, good evening, and good evening, Nigeria.
Now, lack of adequate intelligence gathering has been mentioned as a major reason for the inability of our security forces to tackle security challenges in the country. But why do you think this is the case?
Yeah, that's number one. It's because of the nature of the kind of conflict that confronted Nigeria since, let's say, since 2002, when the first mode of terror attack or terrorism started in this country. You remember, then they had the Taliban in the far northeast. Then we were looking at it more or less like issue, and we confronted it like the conventional conflict that used to be. But unfortunately, what we didn't realize that, one, our military and our security service was not trained, you know, in the manner of the nature of the present conflict that we have. But over time, we began to see that, look, and some scholars and analysts have repeatedly said this, that look, the nature of the conflict of the 21st century requires a lot of intelligence gathering, intelligence right from the community. But unfortunately, we dwelled so much in the conventional approach in tackling this conflict, and that is why it became like a problem in our hand. And I think the way to go, which everybody has been mouthing, I repeatedly said this in so many stations and many other sister stations, that, look, the conflict of the 21st century requires thorough intelligence, citizens' participation, and you cannot get good intelligence if you do not carry the citizens along. So why we keep on having our, like we're struggling with this problem right now is because we dwelled too much on reactionary approach and conventional approach. So now that the Minister of Interior and so many senior citizens and government officials are coming out to say, look, this is the way to go. And above all, is another thing to have intelligence, is another thing to synergize. There's been this issue or lack of synergy among our security forces. And this we must realize that the first and foremost is Nigeria, Nigerians and the country itself. Not about services, not about your own organization. We need to synergize so that we can defeat this enemy of the 21st century. The non-state actors have become challenges to nation states, and the only way security forces can, defeat them is to have serious synergy among themselves. And thirdly, I fear most our criminal justice system. It's a bit of disturbing for me that most times, even those, how many of them have we prosecuted and seen being prosecuted, so that we can send lesson back to those that are intending or thinking of carrying out such things. So these are areas that we must look into and put holistically to confront the challenges that is before us.
Now, Dr. Nwokolo, is gathering intelligence, and I'm sure technology plays a major role, as we know, but do you think our forces are adequately equipped to handle this?
No, not very well, because apart from few of the security agencies, we have not invested adequately on modern equipment, because yes, there are different levels of intelligence gathering, but using modern equipment is also part of it all. And apart from an organization or agencies like the DSS and probably the military coming up now, the police is inadequately equipped. You understand? And again, we come back to citizen participation. Even the CCTV that we are talking about, part of ways to gather intelligence or gather, things that are happening around the community, we don't have. We talk about, like in the city centers here, all over the country, how many places, and we don't expect that government should be the provider of all this mechanism or all this equipment. What government have failed to do is that making it a policy that businesses, especially in the city centers, petrol stations, eateries, where you can gather, reach out to in case of any incidents around that vicinity, so you can pick up what has happened around there. I don't know why we have been dragging our feet. If you remember what happened at the bombing, at Boston bomb blast, it was a cafeteria around that vicinity that provided the lead to the faces of those guys who carried out the attack. Why are we waiting? Should we wait till things happen? The one that government put in place in a city like Abuja is not working at all. So there are various ways that we can provide modern equipment and we can make the public get involved. That's the way to go about it.
Dr. Amaechi Nwokolo, it was a pleasure having you on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
To legal matters now, the leader of the Islamic movement of Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife will have to wait till October the 4th for the decision on their bail application currently before a Kaduna State High Court. Mr. El-Zakzaky and his wife, who were both absent in court for today's sitting, are standing trial for alleged culpable homicide and unlawful assembly, amongst other charges leveled against them by the Kaduna State government. During Thursday's sitting, counsel to the defendants, Maxwell Kong, formally moved his application for their bail, while the Kaduna State government, represented by the Solicitor General, filed a counter motion, asking the judge not to grant it. And staying with legal matters, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, is challenging the validity of the arrest warrant issued against him by a federal high court in Abuja. In a case before the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal, Professor Mahmood maintains that he could not be arrested based on a bench warrant, which was legally defective. He's asking the appellate court to invoke its powers and void the arrest order that was issued against him by the trial justice. Justice Stephen Pam had, in a bench ruling on Wednesday, ordered the police to arrest and produce the INEC boss in court on August the 8th to face contempt charges following his failure to honor a summons for him to appear with respect to a suit involving the Anambra State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. A Nigerian journalist, Mr. Jones Abiri, has been remanded in a federal prison in Nasarawa State after appearing in court for the continuation of his trial. The State Security Service had charged Mr. Abiri for alleged militancy on July the 27th, 2 years after arresting him. At the resumed trial at the Chief Magistrate's Court in Wuse Zone 2, Abuja, Mr. Abiri told the court of his experience while in detention at the DSS. He was, however, granted bail in the sum of 2 million naira and 2 shorties, which must be civil servants not lower than grade 12. The trial magistrate, Chukwuemeka Weke, adjourned the trial to August the 8th. Mr. Abiri, who is a publisher of a weekly soaps magazine, was arrested on July the 21st, 2016 at his office in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, on allegations that he was a key militant terrorizing locals and expatriates in the restive oil-rich region, an allegation he has denied. And President Muhammadu Buhari has told his supporters not to be bothered about the wave of defections from the All Progressive Congress, APC, saying he expects God to fish out the hypocrites within the party. The president made a comment at a rally for his APC candidate, that is Gami Olawa Yahya, in Bauchi South Senatorial District by-election, which is scheduled to hold on August the 11th.
Ina zo ne don in nemi alfarmaku ku zaɓi Lawal ya zama Lawal ya zama ɗan majalisa. To da shugaban jam'iyya da gwamna da kuma shugaban jam'iyya na nan Bauchi sun yi magana wadda ba sai na tusa ta ba. Ina so ku yi imani da cewa wannan aiki da muke yi muna yi ne saboda Allah, muna yi ne saboda ƙasanmu, muna yi ne saboda ku. Muna so mu sanar da ku da saninmu ba za mu yadda a cuce ku ba. Abin da ke gabanmu a kyautata ƙasa, a kyautata tsaro, a kyautata arziki, a kuma hana cin hanci da rashawa. Wannan a kan shi muka yi yaƙin neman zaɓe, kuka kuma zaɓe mu, kuma ba za mu manta ba. Saboda haka ina so ku gaya ma al'umma wanda ba su samu damar zuwa ba na mazaɓar wannan Malai Haya a fito a zaɓe shi. Mun goyi bayan shi, mun tabbata zai fidda mazaɓar shi kunya, zai kuma fidda jam'iyyar APC daga kunya.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari. When the news at 10 returns, federal government announces the release of 140 billion naira out of the 500 billion naira allotted for its social investment program in 2017. That's on Business News. Join us again.